Former Vice President Mike Pence says he would consider testifying in front of the January 6th committee if he were asked.
If there was an invitation to participate, I would consider it, but you've heard me mention the Constitution a few times this morning. On the Constitution, we have 3 co-equal branches of government. And any invitation to be directed to me, I would have to reflect on the unique role that I was serving in as vice president. It'd be unprecedented in history for a vice president to be summoned to testify on Capitol Hill. But as I said, I don't want to prejudge.
Jesus, okay, just spit it out, bro. Mike Pence speaking there along the possibilities of testifying or speaking to the January 6th committee, considering he was one of those targets for death that particular day. He didn't stop there talking about January 6th though, because some people's eyebrows were raised by that possibility. But he went on to talk about the FBI and that search warrant that was just conducted on Donald Trump's home last week. What did he have to say about that?
And in the wake of the 4 years that we endured of the politicization of the FBI, the American people have a right to know the basis for this. This unprecedented action does demand unprecedented transparency. These attacks on the FBI must stop. Calls to defund the FBI are just as wrong as calls to defund the police.
As you can imagine, Mike Pence playing both sides of the fence there. First of all, there's these defunding of the FBI talk is nonsense. It's crazy. It's just like saying defund the police. I see where he's going there. But also at the same time, this unprecedented search warrant requires unprecedented transparency. I'm seeing some unprecedented transparency, number one, which maybe we don't necessarily need for the sake of them demonizing this entire process, but we know that's the reasons why they want to do it. If there's an unprecedented action that's happened, why can't they carry it out? So if there's a record-breaking bank robbery when 35 people run up and rob a bank together, that's unprecedented possibly. Does that mean those 35 bank robbers should have unprecedented access to the process in which they're investigating this and arresting people and putting them in prison? It's unprecedented, so that means we have to do things completely differently. How about that unprecedented president potentially breaking all these laws? How about that guy? How about that unprecedented part? Let's move on now, because all this talk that he's doing, as people could assess, there was some criticism for it, of course, and the Department of Justice lack of transparency. Let's go more about what he was talking about there. He says this unprecedented action does demand unprecedented transparency, while he's also defending these rank and file agents. I just want to remind my fellow Republicans, we can hold the AG accountable for the decision he made without attacking rank and file law enforcement personnel at the FBI. Well, the folks that you have that are listening to you don't really have much of a separation between rank and file folks and who they should be mad at the top, which maybe they should just sit back and watch. Continue on. Pence said he would call on Attorney General Merrick Garland to release a full accounting of the reasons behind the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago last week, during which federal agents, of course, recovered several boxes of classified and top secret materials. He says this unprecedented action does demand unprecedented transparency, as you then saw there as he was going through. Tucker Carlson also wasn't very happy with him, Ben. This is probably the best part of this whole thing. He doesn't like specifically talking about maybe the January 6th stuff, or maybe these calls to not go after FBI when you have no idea what's happening. Let's listen to Tucker Carlson. Do we have that?
First, your reaction to Mike Pence. Does he kind of risk falling into that very predictable media narrative about criticizing the FBI, or everyone who works at the FBI beyond reproach here? What's going on?
What is Mike Pence doing in New Hampshire? I mean, if Mike Pence doesn't have a summer house in New Hampshire, then he's delusional. I mean, Mike Pence is a very nice guy, or seems like a nice guy, but he spent 4 years getting bossed around by Donald Trump like a concubine. He was bossed around by his donors when he was governor of Indiana. He's not in a position to lead anything. I think he probably has useful years left in him, and I think he has probably something to add, perhaps. He probably has grandchildren too. But the idea that he's going to run for president is like delusional, and it's clearly only benefiting his consultants. And he should fire anyone who's telling him to go to New Hampshire and run for president and give dumb speeches about the FBI when he has no idea what he's talking about.
He has no idea what he's talking about, Ben. It seems like the sticking point when it comes from Bannon to the My Pillow head guy to then Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham and all these folks is they're trying to keep President Trump from running. I even saw it was a quick thing on there was someone on Fox News was saying, even if in prison he can still run. Like this is the only thought process that they have when it comes to it. So Mike Pence trying to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out isn't working because they're going to find that 1 foot out as a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things with this story that frustrate me beyond belief, starting with maybe the only positive. The first time I've agreed with Tucker Carlson's statements in my life is him saying that Pence was bossed around like a concubine for 4 years by Donald Trump, and that is a fact.
100%.
And that is why, a big part of why he does not have any chance to run, but also the fact that this man hedges his bets with every sentence he says as the world's most boring stick in the mud. Saying spit it out is right. This guy literally, every sentence, he made news by saying he would consider testifying in front of the Jan 6 committee and hedged immediately back 4 different steps. He's like, if I were asked, I would consider, but I'd have to put it through the calculus of the fact that I also had dual responsibilities, both as the president of the Senate and as the vice president. So I would consider during duly, why is everybody sleeping? Everybody fell asleep. I mean, the guy is bonkers, and still, even here's where he's got no spine. Even when considering running against Trump, a man who during this last 10 days has the greatest wide open window. I mean, talk about a gap you could run right into the end zone with. And finally choose any of 5 things in this last week to turn on this guy and say, listen, our law enforcement, our nuclear secrets, those are more important to this country than this one man's ego. And he's finally gone a step too far. I was okay with him wanting me to be hung. Bygones can be bygones, but not our own security for all of you. Instead, he's more angry about the raid on Mar-a-Lago than he is still about Jan 6 or saying anything negative publicly about Trump. That's no political instincts right there.
The thing is, they're able to say negative things about Trump. Look at all these guys who ran for president in 2016 before he took the primary nomination. They hated him. He's a disaster. He's going to destroy the Republican Party. He's the worst thing that ever came across. He's not a politician. He's a Democrat. They went through all of it.
He's unhinged. He's crazy. He's an insane person, unfit for office. They said all that, and they're still Trump's best friends now. Just because at the end they were like, "My bad. I love him. I bow down to him."
I'm afraid is the bottom line.